It's black and white.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Legends Never Die podcast. This is your host, Hunter Frugier, alongside co-hosts Dustin and Matt. Today marks a new day. We're attempting our first trial at a video test for the podcast per a lot of viewers' requests. So we're going to give it a shot today. Also, we want to give a shout out to our viewers. Some listened and submitted questions to ask on the show today. So we want to encourage y'all to keep doing that. Submit your questions to Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, email, or message any of the three of us. We'll jot them down and answer them on the show for y'all. But we'll start off the show today with a congratulations to the two Louisiana teams, the Saints and LSU Tigers, on big wins this week.
LSU being the better win for me, the most enjoyable by far.
LSU won a tough game, 45-38, in a very hostile environment versus University of Texas in Austin. It was a hell of a game. Dustin, I know you were excited.
Yeah, I was very excited. LSU really showed up and showed out this week. I ain't going to lie, I kind of like the offense. I don't know.
I definitely like the offense. Had three receivers with over 100 yards, first time in program history. Joe Burrow threw damn near 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Looked insane. LSU bumped up in the polls all the way to number 4.
I thought they could have went to 3 potentially.
Yeah, they could have. But I like the landing spot for them, but we'll get more into that game in a minute. We'll start off with NFL this week. We'll give a few of our recap and top performers. We'll start it off with the first game of the week. Thursday night, we had Packers and Bears. 10-3, Packers win. What'd y'all think on that?
Very boring game. I think Aaron Rodgers is showing a little bit of age. I ain't liked Aaron Rodgers in the last 3 years. I think he's trash.
I told you before the season started about the last 3 seasons he's regressed in stats, wins, everything.
Yeah, I didn't get much out of that game besides both teams played good defense.
Trubisky looked like trash.
Yeah, he looked awful. He come in this year as like the 5th, 6th highest odds to win the MVP. What a freaking joke that is. He looked absolutely terrible. The running back didn't really show up. Montgomery, that everybody's been so high on. I'm sure he's going to do well going forward, but it's hard to play good when you're way behind in the game, I guess.
Not even way behind, just dumb offensive coordinating. I'm tired of watching Tariq Cohen. If you're going to just throw him the ball, line him up at wide receiver.
I agree.
The dude had 9 touches, or had the ball thrown to him 9 times. He had 7 catches, didn't have a single carry, but yet they line him up in the backfield all the time. Sounds kind of predictable to me.
Yeah, they did run a predictable offense. One highlight that I liked out of that game, I'd started a fantasy player just because I wanted to start the week early and have somebody in that Thursday night game. We had discussed it on the show, and I went with y'all's advice and started him, Allen Robinson. He did well, had over 100 receiving yards on 7 catches. So it's a good for a flex. He'll be in our flex appeal this week, a new segment we'll have on the show for everyone. But I like the way he performed. He had 13 targets. He was the only bright side out of that Chicago offense, in my opinion. If they're going to be playing down a lot this season, he's going to be a good start for fantasy players.
Yeah, nobody else really caught the ball for them except Tariq Cohen, and if he's your second best wide receiver, that could be a problem.
I can tell you one thing that was impressive, their defense. That defense is going to be something serious. I'll be firing them up in my fantasy leagues this week. I got them going against the Broncos.
I wonder how many sacks they actually had. At least 5 in that game, I
think
believe.
they had 6.
5 or
6
6,
or 7.
yeah. Knicks,
5.
Mack,
It was 5.
Floyd. That defense is sick. The kid out at Roquan Smith out of Georgia, their whole defense is tough for sure. They got elite cornerbacks. But all right, we'll move into Sunday's game. First game we had, I'm wearing the jersey right now as punishment. My bold take was Odell for 200 yards. He played absolutely awful. The whole team played terrible. 43 to, what was it? 43 to 13. Browns lose by 30 points after we've been hyping them up as Super Bowl favorites.
No, I would never say Super Bowl favorite. I thought they could have a chance to win the division. Y'all are pump the brakes. It's one game. They had 18 penalties. I mean, that attributes to a lot.
What do you think, Dustin? I know Baker Mayfield played like absolute shit.
His O-line was absolutely terrible.
We're gonna have to change. We're gonna have to change it from Baker Moneymaker to bum ass Baker, because that boy's trash. Baker Mayfield gonna lead the Browns to 5 wins this season, staring down Odell Beckham, who's more worried about a watch than a football game.
Yeah, no real superstars in that game. Add Delaney Walker, the tight end for Tennessee, turned back the clock a little bit. He missed all year last season to an injury. Went out first week of the season, but he came back strong, had 2 touchdowns. Scored me like 25 in fantasy, so I was excited there. And I forgot to mention at the top of the hour on the show that congratulations to y'all boys. I went 2-0 in fantasy this week. Y'all also went undefeated.
3-0.
So the panel went a combined 6-0 in fantasy. So take our advice, viewers. I'm telling you, we know what we're talking about. We might be talking shit, but we're talking real shit. Frank Cooley quote right there. But all right, we'll bust into the next game. We had Ravens-Dolphins. A lot went on in this game. I was really excited to see Lamar Jackson, one of the top running backs in the league, show his full potential and throw the ball for once. I don't know what freaking sparked whatever in his brain this offseason, but that boy learned how to throw the damn football. What do y'all think about the game? He had what was his stat line? 324 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and that was all in about the first 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters.
Yeah. Very impressive from my fantasy quarterback. Drafted him in every single league. Can't help but say, give myself a little props on that one. And then tune in, because he's going to do the same thing to the Cardinals defense this weekend, and even worse to the Chiefs the next week.
What do you think about the performance, Matt?
I don't think I've ever been more sure of a game that was going to be a blowout than that one right there.
I mean, Dustin put a $200 max bet teaser on, if a teaser for the viewers that still don't know, it's where it gives you 6 points on the spread. It was a Baltimore 7 points. So it made Baltimore only had to win by 1. And Dallas, who we're going to get into in a minute, also had to win by 1. So it was a good max bet, and Dustin hit that for 200. It was a good week betting for all 3 of us. We all came up on top. I came up super big on the LSU game. I'm not going to talk about it, though. Some people might be a little salty that view the show, so I'll leave it out. But that Baltimore game, it was solid. I like the way Lamar Jackson played. I like Hollywood Brown out of Oklahoma. He's just too fast. We're going into a new era, I believe, in the NFL that Tyreek Hill started, where speed is definitely beginning to kill. John Ross, another example this week in Cincinnati. These fast little receivers, man, they're taking over the league, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
if a quarterback can get it past that secondary, Drew Brees damn sure can't. We've seen that this week, but we'll let Dustin talk about that in a little bit. But any Baltimore player, fantasy owners, start them. Their offense is going to be solid this year. Mark Ingram looked like a beast, over 100 yards and a couple scores. I just like the way the Baltimore Ravens look, and I think they're for sure winning that NFC North.
I don't even
Or
want to
NFC,
know.
what are they in? What division? Is that the
They're
NFC
the
North?
AFC North.
AFC North. Okay, yeah.
Boy. But I can't wait to see what it's like whenever Lamar Jackson actually runs the ball too.
Yeah,
He didn't even have to.
They probably told Lamar Jackson to take a week off from running this week. Probably going to tell him the same thing this week against the Cardinals. But that Chiefs game, y'all better look for Lamar Jackson to score about 45 fantasy points.
You think? All right, guys, we'll kick it into the next game. We had Falcons-Vikings. This was really a very lopsided game. At one point, Vikings were up 28-0. Not much of a takeaway from this game. Julio Jones, a superstar for Atlanta, didn't show up to play. Matt Ryan, he looked pretty terrible.
Caught a touchdown.
Or were Vikings just that good? Their defense, they look really, really good to me.
The Falcons were really out of sync. They got a new OC, and they just got some time to gel. Nobody played in the preseason, so this is their first time playing in the new system.
Yeah, I think my Minnesota Vikings are going to have a good
There it
year.
is. First time for all the
my
viewers
God.
of the
My
NFL
Minnesota
season. Dustin's
Vikings.
first My Team. The biggest bandwagon on the panel. There he is, guys. You get to see him for the first time now. First team of the year is his Minnesota Vikings. Hold the phone and keep watching the show because we'll see. There will be about 5 My Teams. I'm very surprised he didn't go with my Baltimore Ravens as well.
I do like the Ravens, but they're not my team yet. This is one of my
Yeah.
teams. They were my team last year in Minnesota. They just, a bunch of players were getting hurt. I stayed with them, though. I kept confidence, and they let me down. But this year, they told me.
What about your boy Dalvin Cook? Y'all hyped him up for me. I drafted him in fantasy. Week 1, he produced. I got to give y'all the shout out for that.
Yeah, boy's going to be a monster till his rubber band hamstring pops.
He should have had 3 touchdowns. They gave a QB sneak to Cousins on the 1-yard line, one of those possessions. But other than that, Vikings, they look solid.
Their
Definitely
defense,
going to contend for a playoff spot.
Atlanta's defense sucks so bad, they threw the ball 10 times and lost.
Who threw the ball 10 times?
Cousins was 8 for 10 passing. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. But we'll transition into the next game. I'll let Dustin kick it with this because his boy Lev Bell did his thing in a loss. 17-16, Buffalo defeats New York in New York on a bullshit, I would say it was a bullshit pass at the end of the game by John Brown. Snagged it out of nowhere. Spun around for the touchdown. I think Jets should have won that game, but I like the way the game went. I like the way Jets looked. What do y'all think?
I like the way Le'Veon Bell looked. Played a lot of snaps. It's going to be scary for fantasy owners because Gurley only had 15 carries, but Gurley was on the field for over 50 plays.
Speaking of Gurley and the Rams, that'll be our next game on the board. Rams with a nice victory, 30-27 at Carolina, which is always a hostile environment to play in. I really like the way Rams played. McCaffrey, of course, one of the top performers for the week. His stats were insane. He had over 210 scrimmage yards, 2 touchdowns, 46 fantasy points. He really led me to a victory in both my leagues. I don't know if I could have done it without him, but he's an absolute monster going forward. I think he might be the number 1 player in fantasy this year. What do y'all think?
Obviously, that's why I would have drafted him number 1 overall. But what I got to say is I'm ready to dethrone Zeke and pronounce Christian McCaffrey best running back in the NFL.
You think?
Dude, watch him play.
What do you think,
Can't
Matt
tackle
McCaffrey?
him. Can't tackle him.
I don't know. He gets the ball. He had the ball a lot. Just off pure receiving, I got to give it to him as of right now.
It's him or Saquon.
Yeah. I got to go CMC.
Yeah, he did his thing. He had over 100 receiving yards on 10 catches, had all the rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. But the one thing he didn't have was the dub. Rams prevail.
Hey, there you go.
And that's all that really matters.
I max bet the Cowboys. Barkley goes 69 yards on the first carry. I'm like, oh, man. This ain't going to be good. But my Dallas Cowboys
You didn't.
prevailed.
Oh, Lord. We'll get into that one in a second. Stop that, please.
I lie. I could never take the Cowboys under my wing. That
Let's
would be
round
like
off-
Alabama.
Let's first round off the last 2 12 o'clock games. We had Redskins and Eagles. Redskins jumped up 17-0. Everybody thought our bets were screwed, or was it 17-3? I'm not sure.
17-0.
17-0, yeah. So 17-0, we all had Philly in different bets. I know I had Philly by 4. Philly by 10 was the spread. They come back second half, got on fire. Deshaun Jackson, one of our waiver targets for the week, went off, had over 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz started slinging the ball all over the field, and Eagles mounted a good comeback. Dustin took Eagles as his dark horse or his Super Bowl pick. What do you think, Dustin, based off that Week 1 performance? You still riding hot with the Eagles or what?
Is my dark horse, yes, but I ain't even going to lie. Just like every other day, it's a great day to be a Patriots fan. Antonio Brown coming in. Nobody can compete with that.
Yeah, except the Chiefs. It's going to be a 60 to
The
50
Chiefs,
barn
The
burner.
Chiefs, who already got Tyreek Hill out for God knows how long, and Patrick Mahomes with a sprained ankle. First
Yeah,
game of the season.
I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to be out too long. It's like a dislocated shoulder, basically.
He had to
is what
stay the night
has.
in the hospital. It ain't 1 week fix.
Yeah. Is that bad karma? Him getting hurt?
For beating up women, yeah. Can't believe I drafted that dude on my fantasy team.
So any other takeaways from the Eagles game before we move into that Chiefs game? What'd y'all like?
Deshaun Jackson.
The number 1, what should be the number 1 rookie wide receiver in the NFL, Terry McLaurin, for the Redskins.
He had a $125 and a touchdown, I believe.
Yep. 5 catches, $125 and a touchdown in his debut.
Where's he out of in
But
college?
out of Ohio State.
Really?
He led the FBS in yards per catch, 19.8 yards per catch, and he runs a 4.35. In game 1 of the season, he ran 93.8% of their offensive snaps.
Damn, yeah. Look at him as a waiver target. I didn't even look into him. Our boy, shout out, not really our boy, but local here to Lake Charles, Trey Quinn, had a touchdown catch right there in crunch time at the end of the game. Meaningless touchdown, but nonetheless still a touchdown for the local Lake Charles boy. So shout out there. And that'll move us into that Chiefs game. I figured this was going to be one of the best games of the week. I thought it was going to be a little closer than it was. I can't say that it would be with or without Foles. It would have been closer because Gardner Minshew came in and shredded that awful Chiefs secondary and those awful Chiefs cornerbacks. But Mahomes did his thing. He had over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Sammy Watkins, huge game. What'd y'all take away from it? What'd y'all like? Y'all like KC going all the way to the AFC Championship?
No, I don't.
Their defense is a problem.
Their defense is terrible. That's number one.
Who's going to beat them on the way, though, if it's not Patriot? If they don't play Patriots all the way to the top?
Baltimore
could beat them.
Baltimore, I think,
I agree. I think Baltimore could beat them.
We'll find
I think
out.
Houston could even beat them.
We'll find out in 2 weeks when they go to Baltimore to play the Ravens.
Yeah, that's.
And then the Texans. I mean, if your secondary's that bad, you think they're going to be able to guard Deshaun Watson in the fighting Texans?
Oh, my gosh. Where the hell did you pull it?
My Houston Texans.
Dustin wearing a Texans jersey yesterday while we're watching the Saints game made me want to puke, but I held it in.
I wore a Drew Brees jersey.
Yeah, on one shoulder. This boy had a baby Drew Brees jersey on from when he was about 9 years old. That bitch wouldn't even fit over one arm.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
What'd you like on that Chiefs game, Matt?
I like Mahomes did his thing like usual. You seen he missed the Kelsey no-look pass in the end zone?
I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah. He overthrew him, and he wasn't looking. And they caught him on camera not looking. Like, they slow-moed it in video and realized that he wasn't looking. And
that's why I can't stand him.
Trying to show off?
Yep, trying to show off.
And Shady McCoy still got some gas left in the tank, obviously.
How'd he do?
Like Randy Moss
Almost
said
had 100 yards rushing.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the great Randy Moss said the other day, this league will humble you. Talking about the Browns being humbled, this league will humble Patrick Mahomes when he's getting carted off the field because he's showing off.
He was getting hit a lot.
Yeah, he's out there showing off.
All right, we'll transition into the 3 o'clock games now. First game on the board, we had Chargers at Colts. A much closer game than I expected. I like the performance out of Phillip Rivers, but our top performer in this game, obviously Austin Eckler. What'd y'all think of his performance and the game in general?
I think Austin Eckler is hurting his friends' chances of making a lot of money.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon who?
Melvin Gordon's going to be back. He said 6 to 8 weeks he'll be back. Told y'all he'll be back by week 10 so he can be a free agent at the end of the season. Obviously, if he wouldn't have done that, he'd have been an idiot. But prime example of why you don't hold out. Kid comes in. Let's not mention Justin Jackson. I want to say he averaged 10 yards a carry.
Who, Jackson?
Yeah, I think he had 5 carries for 53
he had a
yards.
good day as well.
Keenan Allen with a big day, 10 for 123 and a score. And who else? What else? The sick interception by the safety by the Colts.
Malik Hooker.
So far, the interception of the year for sure. He's out of Ohio State, ain't he?
Yeah, catch of the year.
Wasn't the play of the week, though.
Really?
Vernon Davis hopping over the defender.
That was sick.
That boy.
I'm going to make a post on our Instagram page, so any viewers that want to go check that out, I'm going to put a highlight of that. I'm going to put a highlight of Drew Brees' prep talk before the game yesterday. You know, Brees always has the biggest pep talks. He told him before the game yesterday, he said, we've looked the devil in the eyes. He was hyping him up, talking about the referees from the NFC Championship game. And we told him we're coming back. All this shit. He was hyping them up, though, dude. It was awesome. But back to the topic, Malik Hooker, nice interception. Colts, Jacoby Brissett did his thing. He looked good. Marlon Mack with a huge game. What was his stat line? He had over 150 rushing, didn't he?
He had 175 rushing yards against the Chargers defense that is banged up already. As if the Chargers and the Redskins could stay half-ass healthy, they wouldn't be bad. I mean, the Chargers are good every year, but they lose 8 to 10 people to injured reserve.
Yeah, they're going to be screwed when it comes playoff time, just like last year, though. They're going to get matched up with the Ravens again, who we've mentioned. Texans, Patriots, Chiefs, one of those. Next game, we had Dallas versus the Giants. Matt, a big Dallas fan, I'll let him speak on the game. Ezekiel Elliott didn't have a huge game, but goddamn did Dak Prescott.
That's my boy Dak. Still ain't worth $35 million. I cannot pay him $35 million.
So far, they said he's got a top 5 contract on the line, top 5 quarterback contract, so that's at least $32 million a year.
Okay, give him 32, whatever. Just make him happy.
Told y'all last week, y'all didn't want to freaking listen. But Cowboys overall with the good victory, 35-17. A lot to look forward to there. One of the best two-way teams in the league for sure. And that'll move us into the next game. Came up, we had Seattle and Cincinnati, 21-20 Seattle. Seattle went into this game a 10-point favorite. They obviously didn't live up to the hype. Russell Wilson underperformed. Chris Carson on my fantasy team had 2 touchdowns. He done all right. John Ross for Cincinnati looked real good, and Andy Dalton led the league in pass yards this week, I believe. But overall, the performance for Cincinnati, in my opinion, was a bigger takeaway than the performance of Seattle.
I was actually kind of disappointed with Seattle's offense. I thought they were going to kind of just wipe up the Bengals this week, but it ended up being a good game. Bengals' new coach got the offense looking right without A.J. Green.
Yep, just wait and see how good they are when A.J. Green comes back.
They need an O-line, I know that for sure.
Well, they drafted O-line heavy this year, and they got hurt, that center out of Arkansas or wherever, with their first-round pick, and he's out for the season. Alabama? Yeah, one of the top centers in the league. But Cincinnati, their run game looked weak. Mixon didn't do good. But the thing out of this game I took away the most, and I hate the way Seattle does this, is how they barely win games all the time. They're a terrible team to bet because of that fact. They don't care about winning by a lot. They don't care about flashy performances. They just want to barely win, and that's going to end up hurting them in the long run. They're going to lose a lot of close games this year. I definitely take back them as my NFC West pick to win the NFC West over the Rams. I guess I'm back with the Rams, who I'm still not home. But Seattle, big disappointment this week. I didn't like the performance.
Yeah, Cincinnati is going to run a good offense. Joe Mixon's already hurt, going to miss time. So probably should have picked up Gio Bernard in fantasy today. And that brings us into our next game, the Lions and the Cardinals. I called Hunter at halftime, and I told him, I said, Kyler Murray looks like he should have definitely went and played baseball. And he proved me wrong in the second half. But my main takeaway was I think Detroit might end up with one of the best offenses in the league this year. They got Marvin Jones, Galladay, Amendola out the slot. The tight end looked amazing, Hawkinson, which I told everybody about. And Kerryon Johnson, who didn't even pretty much touch the football the whole game. I think the Lions actually, the Minnesota, Green Bay, the NFC North, that's the best division in football, and it ain't even close.
It's the most balanced division for sure. The takeaway I had from the game was Arizona's offense. David Johnson got back in form, caught a good touchdown, ran for almost 100 yards. Larry Fitzgerald had over 100 on almost 10 catches and a touchdown as well. And like you said, Kyler Murray, second half, he looked like what he was drafted to do. Beautiful deep ball. One of the best deep balls I've seen all week for sure, coming out of K1's hands. But I thought it was a good game. I also like the tight end Hawkinson. I'm trying to trade for him in fantasy leagues. I want him on my team because my tight end sucks. Well, if they want Antonio Brown, which nobody's going to want him now, I should have traded him today for Julio. Wish I would have. But whatever, Dustin just had a breaking update over there on Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I got a Yahoo Sports update that said Patriots receiver Antonio Brown reportedly accused of rape by former trainer who has filed a lawsuit against the receiver.
Oh, Lord. Probably the Illuminati shaming him. That's what I would guess.
Probably maybe the reason why he wanted out of Oakland so bad.
It was an Oakland trainer?
I don't know what kind of trainer it was. I can read further into it, though.
Yeah, we'll look at it after the show's over. In the last game of the 3 o'clock series, we had the Buccaneers and 49ers. 49ers defense was the only true takeaway in this game, in my opinion. What'd y'all think? I thought it was a pretty boring game.
The 49ers had more interceptions in that game than they did all last season.
Really?
Yeah.
3 or 4?
3.
Jameis Winston looked like absolute garbage. Made me regret drafting Mike Evans in fantasy.
I'll take him.
Yeah, take him. Trade me. Find me something.
I want to
I
trade.
got him too.
I've been wanting to trade Fournette in fantasy already.
Oh, yeah, Fournette sucks. He was a risk from the beginning. Huge risk. But that's the last of the 3 o'clock games. I don't want to get deep into that San Fran game. It was super boring. We'll move into Sunday night, what I thought was going to be a decent matchup, or at least within 10 points. Patriots versus Steelers. Patriots went out there and absolutely dick slapped them, and that's really that.
Yeah, 30-3 ended up.
33-3, I believe.
Jeez. I quit watching halfway through. I just knew it was going to be an absolute blowout.
What could one possibly expect?
I mean, yeah, the Patriots are those guys.
Yeah, missing their best defensive player and to hold the Steelers to 3 points. Yeah, I get it. They're in transition from no Le'Veon, no AB, post-life.
I think Pittsburgh sucks this year. I'm not degrading Patriots at all. I just think Pittsburgh's really going to suck this year.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I don't
offense.
understand how people are still thinking they're going to win that division. And
New
stuff.
England might win their first 2 games by a combined 100 points. Because if Baltimore beats them 59-10,
I don't think Patriots are going to do that, though, to them. I don't know. I've just never known the Patriots to run up the score like that.
Yeah, Patriots
on
will be
teams.
beating them about 25-0, then run the football and not throw a pass.
No, we'll get to see Stidham play QB next week. I bet. Bold prediction.
Good.
Stidham will play quarterback for Patriots next
I'm ready
week.
to get Tom Brady one more ring, and then I'm ready to hand over the reins.
What if Patriots start doing that? They start benching Tom Brady every time they get up. Like last game, they could have. They just bench him so he's fresh, can play 5-6 more years.
I mean, they might as well.
They should. Every time they're up at halftime by at least 20 points, just take his ass out. Let him sit, play basically half a season, and he'll be good. He'll be able to play longer into his career for sure. Not a bad idea. But like I said, Patriots, Josh Gordon looked good. He freaking absolutely ran that guy over on that touchdown. There's no tackling that guy at full speed.
Yeah, Philip Dorsett catches his touchdown and throws the ball into the stands. Belichick says, find you a seat on the bench. You're done for the day. Yep, you don't do that. Chewed his ass for throwing that football in the stands. Said it was disrespectful. This boy Dorsett going to go on Twitter and apologize.
He probably made him. They got 10 receivers on the team. He's cut like nothing. That boy's cut like butter.
Yeah, because they said that Jacoby Myers is there to stay.
But all right, Patriots did good. Obviously, the AFC favorite with the signing of Antonio Brown for sure. They jumped on Vegas sportsbooks from a 6-1 to a 4-1. Is the heavy favorite to win it all? 1-1 now?
No, that's what it is though.
It should be 1-1. It's a one-way ticket to the AFC Championship for Patriots for sure, though. They're on a crash course headed that way. So Monday night, we moved in, 6 o'clock in the Dome. The Hoodats took on the Texans. Texans start the game on fire, jump up 17-3 at halftime, but Drew Brees had pumped the brakes. We all should have known he was going to come out on fire second half. And Saints come back, win the game on a 58-yard game-winning field goal as time expired with 2 seconds. So shout out to Will Lutz with the clutch leg. And Saints, I mean, they look like the Saints. They look good. Started slow. They broke their 5-game season opening streak. They've lost 5 season openers in a row. 1 win out of the last 9 seasons to open the season at home. So they broke that bad streak. Alvin Kamara went for how many yards? 170, I think.
Something like that, 150.
Something ridiculous. Michael Thomas added 10 catches, over 120 yards and a score. Drew Brees had a couple touchdowns. Wasn't his best performance, through a rare red zone interception. But they still got it done. But a takeaway on Houston's side, Deshaun Watson looked really good. DeAndre Hopkins, unguardable as always. But he did drop a few passes. Had 0 drops last year and dropped a few in this game.
Yeah, I guess his hands were a little rusty.
Or they took away Stickum from him or something. That boy uses Stickum for sure. Has to. He dropped like 3 or 4 balls, which only one will probably go down as official drop. They weren't the best passes. You know, Deshaun Watson isn't the best passer.
He's pretty damn good.
Yeah, or Saints secondary is pretty damn bad. I still want one viewer to give you whatever kind of prize you'd like. If you could explain to me a good reason why P.J. Williams is still a starter in the NFL. This dude is the worst safety I've ever seen in my freaking life. And he's still starting on an NFL team, much less the Saints. I just do not understand.
Yeah, P.J. Williams is, I guess you could say, maybe the league's best friend.
Yeah, he's terrible.
They should put him on Madden, the cover of Madden.
All right, next game I wasn't too into. I didn't really watch any of it. Two boring teams in my opinion. We had the Hard Knock Raiders versus the Broncos. Josh Jacobs drafted him high in fantasy this year, 4th, 5th round, whatever it was. Everybody was high on him. So I went out and grabbed him, the running back out of Alabama. I know he was going to be the cow there. He had 85 rushing, 28 receiving, and 2 touchdowns. So he showed up, and he was the only big takeaway in that game, in my opinion. Anybody else do good? Tyrell Williams.
Tyrell Williams had 100 and something receiving. Cortland Sutton had 100 and something receiving yards. Emmanuel Sanders back from Achilles, touchdown, and how many yards? 80, 90?
80-something.
So, Matt, you stuck some player props that game, huh?
Yeah, I had Emmanuel Sanders catches over 4.5 and his yards.
And what else?
And I had Tyrell Williams catches.
Tyrell Williams.
All 3 of them hit.
That's good. Nice. It was a good week. Good week for betting. And that wraps up the the review of the games there. Now we'll bust into the preview. We'll go through quick, and we'll get our picks wrote out. We'll kick it off with the first game of the week, Thursday night. We got Buccaneers and Panthers at Carolina, so I'm obviously going Panthers in this. Panthers by 7 might be a good play.
Panthers easy here. I like the 7 too.
I don't know if I like the 7. Bruce Arians, he's a good coach.
Yeah, I don't know. I see Carolina getting about 5 interceptions off Cam Newton. McCaffrey going for about 200 yards. McCaffrey player prop would definitely probably be a good play in this game. But, Dustin, I'm guessing you're going Panthers for sure.
Yeah, I can say one thing I've learned about the Panthers. And I got to give high praise to a guy that I didn't really like going into the season. DJ Moore led the league in average yards of separation per route ran last year. And he's well on his way to doing the same thing again this year. He's open every single play.
If Cam Newton knew how to throw, I got him on my damn fantasy bench. He'll probably never get put in my starting lineup.
Yep.
But all right, next game, guys. We got 12 o'clock games on Sunday, 49ers and Bengals. Based off this past week's performance, I'm going to go with Cincinnati at home. I'm going Bengals.
I'm going to go 49ers easy.
I like the 49ers as well.
All right, we got 2-1 49ers. Next game, Chargers-Lions in Detroit. I'm going to stick with the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers.
I'm going Lions.
Dustin Lions, Matt Chargers, Hunter Chargers. Next game, Packers-Vikings in Green Bay. I'm going with the home team again. Give me the Packers.
Give me the
Vikings.
So 2-1 with the Vikings. Next game we have up is Colts-Titans. I'm going to go with the Titans in this one at home, coming off the big win against Cleveland this week. So give me the Titans over the Colts. I know this is going to be a close, good game, though.
Give me the... that's a tough one. Titans. I'll take the Titans. In a low-scoring 13-6 game.
I'm going Titans as well.
Titans across the board. Next up, this is an obvious one. We got Miami versus the Patriots. I'm going Miami all the way. What about y'all?
I'm going to go Patriots. Got to take the Patriots, man.
Patriots.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm going Patriots by 90. We'll see what they got the spread at. 18.5. Might be the highest spread I've ever seen.
It is.
Last time I took one of these damn spreads this high, Buffalo beat Minnesota last year at 16-point favorite. So you might want to watch out. Take that Miami money line, folks.
Tom Brady does play bad at Miami.
Yep. He ain't got Daddy Cutler to show him up this year, though. He got Daddy Fitzpatrick, so I don't see it happening. Give me the Patriots by 20 plus. So give me Patriots spread at 18.5, 12.5 and a teaser. 2-touchdown win for Tom. That's easy. 2-touchdown Tom gets the dub there. Next up, we got Bills-Giants, a battle for the worst team in the league. Give me the Giants at home.
The Bills are not that bad, and I'm going to take them.
I'm taking the Bills, too.
So we got 2-1 Bills. I think Giants get a win this week. We'll see. Next up, we have a decent game, though. Steelers-Seahawks at Pittsburgh. What do y'all think on that?
Give me the Seahawks.
I don't know. Hold on. Give me a sec.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to keep riding the home team. Give me the Steelers in this one. Steelers a 4-point favorite also if you're looking at a bet.
Take the Seahawks plus 10 in the teaser. Seahawks don't win by a lot, but they don't lose by a lot either when they lose.
I think I'm going to take the Steelers.
Steelers for Matt. So we got 2-1 Steelers at home versus the Seahawks. Next up, Cowboys Redskins. I'm sure we're going Dallas across the board.
Yeah, easy.
Yep.
After that, Ravens Cardinals. I'd imagine Ravens across the board.
I think it's going to be a pretty good game, though.
Ravens at 13.5. They made it where that teaser was at 7.5, but I'll still take it. I'll take Ravens, not by 14, but probably in a teaser. I like Dallas also at a -5 this week. That's definitely a play to take.
I already took them at -4 yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it as a good take. The line's going to obviously move up as the week progresses, but be looking at that as a good play. Next up, got a good game. Texans get back on track at home versus the Jaguars. Give me Texans by the 8. Give me Texans over the Jags.
See, I like Gardner Minshew, and I think Gardner Minshew is going to put on a show, but the Texans are still going to win.
All right, so Texans. Matt, what you got?
Give me the Jags.
Uh-oh.
The Saints had 6 sacks on Deshaun Watson, and the Jags' D-line is way better than the Saints. So, that's trouble.
All right, next game we'll move into. We got a 2-1 Texans there. I'm going to go with, in the next game, Chiefs versus Raiders. In the black hole. Give me the Raiders with a huge upset for whatever reason. I just think Raiders somehow are going to upset the Chiefs, as funny as it sounds. And I just want to have one pick that's going to be way different. So give me the Raiders over the Chiefs. Screw it.
I like the Chiefs in this game. Mahomes, one of my favorite quarterbacks. No, I'm joking. No, but Mahomes, Derek Carr still sucks. I don't care what anybody says. He sucks. But Josh Jacobs could give the Chiefs fits.
So you're going Chiefs. Matt, what about you?
Give me the Chiefs. I think it's going to be actually kind of a high-scoring game.
I'll probably end up taking Chiefs in the teaser 1.5. They're 7.5 favorite. It'd be a really good teaser to take, I'd imagine. But I just want to be a little different and go with a bold take there. Next up, Bears Broncos. 2 good defenses. I don't care what the under to this game is. It's going under 40, 36, 38. It's going under. It's going to be a 10-3, 17-10, something like that. Bears win for sure. Give me the Bears on the road in Denver.
The Bears going to face their old defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Give me the Bears by 20.
Bears in a low score.
No.
Blow them out.
Probably about 30-3.
Yeah, so
I
still a
wouldn't
low
say
score.
that.
I wouldn't put it past the Bears to not let them score a point.
So, hardcore bet, premium play, Denver Broncos team total under anything, in other words.
Anything under.
It's going to be under 14 probably.
Yeah.
Under 14.
Give me the Bears. 2 names you didn't even hear at all from the commentators last night. Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. They didn't even say their name.
Didn't show up.
Not even
Bears
the
a
league.
3-point favorite. Look at that as a good play. I think that'll be part of my parlay this week.
They do say
Dustin, I
don't.
want to get your guy's sheet too so I could do something ridiculous parlay on it. But anyways, next game, Sunday Night Football. I think this is going to be a good matchup. Always is when some birds fly into each other. We got the Eagles going into Atlanta to take on the Falcons. And that was really lame right there.
High scoring shootout.
Shootout.
Give me the Eagles.
Give me the Eagles as well at home.
Give me the Eagles too.
Eagles across the board, Monday night game. This would have sounded like a joke a couple years ago, but this year it's actually going to be a solid matchup. We got the Browns at home versus the Jets. Actually, at New York. Give me the Browns to get back on track. Baker Mayfield started his career last year against the Jets, led him to a second-half comeback, and that's when the Baker moneymaker era started right then that day. So give me Cleveland bouncing back this week. I'll take the Browns.
Go ahead and give me the Browns. I think they bounce back. I think it's going to be a close game, but the lone. Look for Odell to have a quiet game this week because he's going to be double teamed, obviously, and the double team's going to come with Jamal Adams or Marcus May, which are 2 of the best young safeties in the league. So, I don't know.
Matt, what you got?
I'm going to take the Browns, too. I think they're going to right the ship this week.
All right, so that wraps up the NFL preview for next week. We'll look into a premium play before the show ends here in a minute and give it to y'all, so be thinking about it. In other NFL news, we had the AB to the Pats, the AB news of the alleged rape going on now. We had Odell Beckham's watch. This boy is wearing a Richard Mille $200,000 watch on the field. Of course, the NFL is going to hate on him and say something about it because they're fucking haters. So Odell said, I'm going to continue to wear the watch because I don't give a shit, and I'm worth $100 million. So do your thing, Odell. Keep wearing your watch as long as you don't smack no one upside the head with it. That's all the NFL is worried about. But one thing I got out of that, he said the NFL prohibits hard objects from being worn, but allows jewelry. He said my watch isn't a hard object. It's made out of plastic. I said, so you bought a $250,000 plastic watch? What do I need to do to make a watch out of plastic to sell it for $250,000 is what I want to wonder. What is Richard Mille doing to sell a watch for $200,000 that's made out of plastic? What the hell?
What do you expect from a guy so stupid?
Yeah, it definitely was.
And you're wearing his jersey.
Yeah. But Odell repping the jersey. You already know that's my boy still. He's going off this week. Mark my words. I'm going to say it every week till he finally goes off. This is his week. Then we had Tyreek Hill news. We talked about it a little earlier. What's the update? Going to miss a few weeks at least with the dislocated clavicle or whatever.
That's a weird injury that I don't even know what to make of.
And same injury on Nick Foles. He's out indefinitely with the clavicle broken.
Devin Funchess broke his collarbone too, clavicle.
And last but not least on the news, we had mentioned earlier, Jets signed Demaryius Thomas. Patriots, too many receivers, so they said, we'll trade him for a 5th-round pick or whatever. They'll probably draft the next Tom Brady with the 5th-round pick, knowing them, how lucky they freaking get. But that'll bust us out of NFL. We'll wait till next week to do the flex appeal. Some good flexes, though, just to rack off a few names. If you got them on your squad, start them. Josh Gordon, Allen Robinson, Alshon Jeffrey, Montgomery, Sony Michel, Shady McCoy. Definitely look at starting him this week. Y'all said he turned back the clock. Almost had 100 yards back in an Andy Reid offense. So McCoy's definitely a good start. Matt Breida with the injury to Tevin Coleman, who's made out of freaking glass. Gets hurt every year. So Breida's a good start there. Latavius Murray for the Saints, getting a little bit of carries behind Kamara. He had a solid week and a touchdown. Will Fuller, always a deep threat. Got a good matchup this week. Tyler Boyd. Is that his name, Tyler Boyd or Tyler Boyd? Tyler Boyd. Okay, I always say it wrong. Juice out in Cleveland. Calvin Ridley for Atlanta, of course. And then a few of your waiver targets. If you're in a bad spot, look to pick up. If you got a sucky quarterback like me with Russell Wilson, I'm trying to pick up Dak Prescott this week, who's another good quarterback
Phillip
that
Rivers,
might be on waivers.
Matthew Stafford's a good one.
Stafford had a big week.
And a lot of weapons now to throw to.
Other waiver claims, we had tons of wide receivers that showed up this week atop the charts. John Ross out of Cincinnati had a big day, over 30 fantasy points. Hollywood Brown caught a few bombs for the Ravens, also on a lot of waivers. Amendola, who else y'all got? The guy you mentioned out of the Redskins.
Terry McLaurin.
McLaurin for the Redskins. Matt, you got anybody?
Waller out of Oakland. I like him.
Waller out of Oakland. Any tight ends y'all are targeting in the waiver claims?
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews.
Too.
I'm going after him to replace with Olsen, who already is freaking hurt, Greg Olsen. And that'll be the waiver claims, and that'll wrap it up for NFL football. We'll quickly move into NCAA. We'll recap the top 2 games last week. We'll start off with LSU at Texas. At the top of the show, we talked a little about it. LSU with the good offensive performance, 45-38 win at Texas. What'd you take away from the game, Dustin?
I took away that LSU's about to be a machine.
College football, the AP polls also thought so. The Associated Press bumped us up from number 6 all the way to number 4, which gives us a slot in the college football playoff for now.
I think we should have moved up all the way to number 2.
No. I'd give y'all 3, but not 2.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Bama played New Mexico
But
State.
we ain't beat Bama in forever, so they're not going to bump us. I think we should be ahead of Clemson over Bama.
And
I think we would legit beat Clemson. I'm still on the fence about Bama, but I really think we'd beat Clemson in a 1-4 college playoff.
I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I
But
think we would beat them for sure.
I would
We're
love to watch
definitely
it.
we're 100% better than Georgia. I don't know how Georgia's ranked ahead of us.
Because they beat Bama last year, or almost did.
Almost, and we
Yeah.
beat them by 20
Yeah, true. Texas stomping
in
too.
a daytime game in which they said they would not play us at nighttime. We beat them by 20. Yeah.
What was your thoughts on LSU Texas, Matt, from a non-biased fan? Of course, you got two LSU fans' opinion on it. What was your opinion?
LSU adding the Saints' old passing coordinator, I think, is paying huge dividends for Burrow in the offense right now. It's actually very explosive. It's actually fun to watch LSU running that offense.
It's been a while since I've been able to say it's fun to watch LSU offense.
Yeah, it's
But
been
I agree.
running up the middle for a while.
I love the receivers, like we mentioned, all the running back depth. The one takeaway from the game that I didn't like, though, was the bodies dropping. We had bodies dropping like flies. We had Glenn Logan get hurt, Lawrence hurt, one of our top linemen hurt.
3 starters are all out this weekend.
I would
including-
rest them. I'd rest them for
and-
a few weeks, man. We got Northwestern, then Utah State, a few other slacker
Y'all
games.
want to rest your defense against Utah State? They
Yeah.
got Jordan Love. That'll do. He was in the Heisman race last year.
Yeah, if they ain't top 5, if they ain't Power 5, then they don't stand a chance.
Yeah, they're Mountain West. But I like LSU, and I really think these injuries. Orgeron said Logan's out this next week. Divinity's not going to play. Lawrence is probably not going to play. And then Clavon Chason, he said, is in a walking boot, but he thinks he might be able to play.
Yeah, why wouldn't
Well,
you
yeah,
just sit him?
exactly.
Yeah, I would just sit.
If
Sit
for
Glenn
some
Logan
of the
also.
for some of the viewers that don't know, Northwestern's about an hour and a half up the road from us, and they're bad.
Yeah, we're gonna
they're-
beat them by 50.
The spread's 50. We're gonna cover the spread.
Yeah. So that was that. Texas, a lot to look forward to. You had mentioned the other day when we talked after the game that you think that Texas will beat Oklahoma and win the Big Ten this year,
I think they're gonna.
or the Big 12. my
I think
bad.
they're gonna beat them easily.
I think it's going to be a good game. Give me the over when Texas plays Oklahoma, no matter what the score is. And we got to give credit to Ellinger, man. He was a top performer again this week, although Burrow had 471 and 4 scores. Ellinger had 400 passing, 60 rushing, and 5 touchdowns versus a good LSU defense who was obviously cramped up and hurt.
That's
but
what
still,
happens when you have no air conditioner in your locker room.
Yeah, Texas is petty for that.
Yeah,
We'll make them pay. They forget they have to come to Tiger Stadium next year to play us.
in the second.
And
of
we'll
it,
probably
too.
beat them by 40.
Yeah, as long as Miles Brennan's not playing quarterback.
Yeah, LSU better start working on that quarterback situation. We got the number
They got
one.
2 5-stars coming in.
Dual threat. That Parrish kid, is that one of them?
He's already there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's probably gonna move to wide receiver or transfer. We got a guy T.J. Finley, 5-star. Dad played in the NFL. Quarterback, Cam Newton size.
They got that Finley guy in the NFL right now from
Ryan
NC
Finley,
State. Yeah, they said he might be starter by the end of the year. Who's he play for?
Cincy.
Yeah, Cincinnati. They hating on Dalton already. But Texas, they got a lot to look forward to. They didn't fall much. They went from 9 to 12 in the polls. I think they're still definitely a top 10 team. The best team in the Big 12 aside from Oklahoma. So don't lose hope, Texas fans. You're just not going to make the damn playoffs. Sorry. You might make a good power or Big 5 bowl game.
Back to the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, back to the Sugar Bowl you go, Texas. LSU now with a 56% chance to make the college football playoff, they said, with
Gotta
the win.
beat Bama.
With the win at Texas. Even with one loss to Bama, they said we're in there. If
I
we only
know, but
lose
it's-
one game.
It's time.
Yeah, it's definitely time. It's been damn near 8 years at least, almost 10 years in the making since we beat them. When was the last time? 2012 we beat them in regular season, then they beat us in the
I
championship?
think it was 11.
I should have a poster
I
somewhere
really
that
think it
says
was 11.
But yeah, Texas, LSU, 2 great teams. Then we had Clemson, A&M. Clemson or A&M bettors were hype. I watched a video live from Las Vegas in the betting room when Texas A&M threw that last-second touchdown on 4th and 6 with 6 seconds left to cover the spread. Oh, people were going wild in there.
Dude, that was nice.
That was a bad beat for any Clemson spread holder. 16.5. They were beating them by what, 17 or 18? And they were beating them by like 20. They threw that touchdown with 6 seconds left on 4th down to cover the freaking spread, cover the 14.5.
The crazy thing would be someone taking the 16-point spread.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a bad beat for any Clemson fans.
You
but
think
most
that.
people in the war room, what they call it over there in Vegas, all had A&M by the looks of it. Everybody jumped up all hyped up, had A&M in their parlays and everything.
Clemson was 1 game off of tying Alabama for most games consecutively won by 20-plus points. I think it was like 12 or 13.
And they lost it on.
Yeah.
But Clemson, they're number 1 for a reason. Now they're going to win out. Obviously, Texas A&M was the only challenge on their schedule. Nobody in the ACC stands a freaking chance in hell versus them. So we'll see Clemson number 1 in the playoffs. But who are they going to face? That's going to be the big question.
Dude,
so they got their deal sealed.
They're going to smash Syracuse this week, and that spread is not high.
Oh, yeah. Syracuse just got absolutely mopped by Maryland.
HM player prop all day.
HM player prop, Clemson spread, Matt giving a play on it.
That's
But
the thing,
Clemson smashing.
You don't get a HN prop on the book when they play teams like that.
Yeah, the bookie's got to win.
Yeah.
What do you expect? Been sitting on my damn pen the whole time. Anyways, Texas A&M, they were number 12 going into this week. They only dropped like a spot or 2 in the rankings, which obviously they shouldn't have dropped much. Kellen Mond, I don't understand how you could go from throwing for almost 400 yards and almost beating Clemson last year to getting held under 200 yards and looking like absolute trash. When Clemson lost 3 of their best defensive players, their defense got notably worse, to say the least. And Texas A&M went out there and put up a goose egg, might as well have. They looked awful, Texas A&M's offense. So I don't know. I don't like Texas A&M this year.
You got to feel bad for Texas A&M. Right now, ranked in America, they have to play the number 1 team, the number 2 team, the number 3 team. They play LSU.
They got to play the current 4.
The
LSU 1, 2,
3,
3, and 4.
1, 2, 3, and 4. And then they got to play Auburn, who's 8. And then they got to play Mississippi State, who's 14.
That's got to be the toughest schedule.
They don't play Florida, do they?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Unless you got to play some breadwinners, too. We got 2 Alabama, 8 Florida.
I can't wait for them to
we
play
got
Florida.
number 9 Florida, 8
Texas, who's going to end up like number 6.
We got Texas, who we just beat. We got A&M, Auburn, Florida. Luckily not Georgia this year, although I wish we did just so we could stomp them and solidify our playoff spot. But that's really it on the 2 big games. Our top performers we had just mentioned, everyone in that LSU game. Jonathan Taylor, the running back for Wisconsin, they had another big 51-0 win. He went for 100 yards rushing and 4 more touchdowns to add to his Heisman candidacy.
That's 8.
It's 8 touchdowns in 2 games, and they have still yet to allow a point. Dustin mentioned that the other day. And then a few underperformers this week. Travis Achan out of Clemson, our hometown guy here, only 30 yards rushing this week versus Texas A&M. And then another underperformer, number 13, Washington, loses by 1 point at home to Cal. And Trevor Eason, the Georgia transfer quarterback, threw for 160 yards and an interception with no touchdowns.
What was the deal with that game? It was rain delayed till like 1 a.m.
Yeah, here's the problem. Jacob Eason showed why it was time to go. But he sucks. But Washington's offense fails them every year. They run their coach's offense. They run it every year, and they're the same basic-ass offense. We're going to run a 5-yard out route, catch the ball, run out of bounds. We're going to run up the middle, or we're going to throw a deep ball. That's it. Now they ain't got Pettis to get the deep ball, and Miles Boykin. They're screwed.
Washington, they suck. They just lost their spot. Oregon's going to win the Pac-12. They bounce back with a 77-6 dub. Oh, yeah, true. They're going to be there. It's going to be a good game between Oregon and Utah for sure. Justin Hebert got back on track this week. Obviously, they played a terrible team, but still, he looked good. But our other top performer, forgot to mention, Dustin's told me about him. First time getting to see him play. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The backup quarterback in USC coming out of high school. He's a top-rated quarterback this year. One of Slovis.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He was a beast. 378 and 3 touchdowns. USC's backup quarterback. Supposed to be a animal coming out of high school this year. So, look forward to him playing. USC's busted back into the top 25. They've been a top 25 team ever since I've been alive. This was the first year since I've been a child that they weren't top 25 preseason rankings. So good to see USC back on track, 2-0. But now we'll move into the college football preview for week 3. I only have 3 games highlighted that I really think are worth a flip. We got Florida going to visit Kentucky. Florida 8-point spread, one of the most overrated teams in my opinion in the entire league. I'm putting Florida on upset alert this week. Give me Kentucky +8 at home. What do y'all think on that game?
I think Florida's going to beat Kentucky. Kentucky, they haven't identified themselves yet.
Yeah, their quarterback's better than Terry Wilson, their quarterback from last year. That's a fact. Kentucky has a good quarterback. Obviously, they don't have a Benny Snell at running back this year, but they definitely have an upgrade from last year's quarterback, which I think is going to put them over the top. Florida going into Kentucky, I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying Kentucky wins, but it's going to be a dog fight. It's going to be a good SEC defensive battle. And I do like Kentucky in the +8 or +14 on a teaser. So that's one good game this week, or decent game. Then we got Stanford going to UCF. Dustin thinks that Stanford's going to win. Why do you think that, Dustin?
Because because I hate UCF. Really, that's all it is. I hate them with a passion.
What time is the game?
I think UCF wins it. I don't know when it is, but I like UCF at home. They're at 8.5 spread.
11 o'clock at lunch, because they can't play no primetime game.
True.
So Stanford at UCF, the quarterback Costello's coming back this week for Stanford, so that could be big to get them closer. But I see UCF taking the dub on this one. I'm not going to give a play, but should be a pretty good game. And tomorrow night, or Friday night, we have a decent game last, Advocare Texas Bowl game type thing. We got Houston playing Washington State. Washington State back in the top 20, visiting at Houston. Both teams have good quarterbacks.
What's the spread? Because Washington State's going to win easy.
8.5. Washington
Damn.
State, 8.5. Yeah.
Washington
State ranked number 20. So y'all be looking at a play there. Dustin's nodding his head, so I guess you're taking Washington State.
You right. You's right.
Matt, I guess, as well, likes Washington State in that one. And that's really it on college football for the preview. We'll give our top 4 college football playoff. Mine remains the same. I got the season ending. Clemson, number 1. They solidified their spot this week with a win over A&M. They're winning out the season. So Clemson with the 1. Alabama with the 2. Also going to go undefeated. As an LSU fan, I hate to say it. LSU will get the 3 spot, though. No, LSU will get the 4 spot because they're going to want us to play Clemson instead of playing a rematch versus Bama. So LSU will get the 4, and I'm going to leave the 3 open for Ohio State. I like Justin Fields. After seeing Michigan look like complete dog shit versus Army this week and should have lost to Army, I'm definitely taking Ohio State to run the table out there in the Big Ten and get the 3rd playoff spot. So we got Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, LSU. Give me LSU and Bama in the championship. It's only right. What do y'all think?
I'm going to go Clemson, LSU, Texas. Texas runs the table from here on out. They will beat Oklahoma, beat them again in the title game. They 1-loss conference champion. And then you have a 1-loss Alabama. That's going to be mine. LSU, Bama, Clemson, and Texas. Ohio State loses 1 game and they're out.
Yeah, for sure.
And they always.
So they're going to lose to Michigan at Michigan?
No, they always choke one time, though.
Yep.
Might lose to
Maryland?
Purdue. Might lose to Purdue.
Might lose this week to whoever it is. Somebody. They're only a 20-point favorite on the road. Forgot who it is. One of them red teams. Everybody in the Big Ten's red.
Nebraska,
maybe, yeah.
Nebraska might upset Ohio State.
Their
If that's who they're
quarterback,
playing.
who they got, Martinez?
Adrian Martinez, yeah. Heisman candidate.
Watch out. Dustin's putting his own squad, Ohio State, on upset
I
alert.
don't like Ohio State.
I thought you were a huge Ohio State fan.
No.
You sure love Zeke Elliott.
No, because he's good.
Matt, what's your 4?
My top 4, Clemson, Bama, LSU, and then OU.
So you think Oklahoma beats Texas?
Yeah.
2-0 or 1-1 split? Because they play in regular season and the conference
A
championship.
1-1
Probably
split,
1-1.
neither one of them make it.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think Oklahoma can make it with a 1-1
See,
split
the problem
if
right
they win
now-
the championship game and lose in regular season.
The problem right now for the College Football Playoff Committee, why it shouldn't be 4 teams, you're getting a lock with Clemson every year. 2 SEC teams are making it every single year. It's happened every time. And then you got to choose between Oklahoma, Texas, Ohio
The
State,
Big 10,
Michigan.
Big 12 winner.
Yep. And that's why the committee's wrong. It should be at least
expand to
6
6.
teams.
Yeah, that'd be better. And we could see LSU finally get a spot in. But we talk about that every damn week. College football playoff, if you're listening, up the ante to 6 or 8. And that's it on college football. I'll give a quick recap on UFC 243 this week in Abu Dhabi. Khabib went out there and did his thing as predicted. Got a 3rd-round rear naked choke submission on Dustin Poirier, our local guy here. Took him out after the fight. Khabib was real humbling, said bring on the next, bring on Ferguson, whoever. McGregor, quick to Twitter, says rematch, book it in Moscow, in Russia. He wants to fight Khabib. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they'll give him the rematch right away. Khabib's manager, Ali Abdiaz, denies all allegations that he wants to fight McGregor again. He does not, he said. McGregor needs to prove himself, which I agree. McGregor needs to fight one of these top 5 guys. Winner of Cerrone versus Gaethje would be a good fight for McGregor, and then a title shot. Pending that. And Paul Felder was the next fight on the UFC card. Him and Barboza, good fight. Felder wins by a split decision. So now he moves into the top 5 in Khabib's division also. So now Felder needs a fight with McGregor, Gaethje, Cerrone, Ferguson, one of those animals at 155. And then other news, we have Diaz and Masvidal have signed the fight. Can't wait. That's the BMF belt. If y'all don't know what that is, that's baddest motherfucker belt. According to Nate Diaz, that's the belt they're fighting for because he is the baddest. So Diaz versus Street Jesus, that's going to be UFC 244 in October in Madison Square Garden. I also see McGregor going to fight on that card, no matter who it's against, because he loves the New York card fights. That's where he became the champ. So that's all UFC news, and we'll end the show there, guys. But first, we'll give a quick shout-out to our sponsor, Legend Gear and Apparel. Go check them out at legendgear.co. Use discount code LND10 for 10% off. And go check out the podcast on all the new platforms, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, a couple of the others, BeanPod or whatever. Tons of different ways to look us up at Legends Never Die Podcast. Instagram, Facebook at Legends Never Die Podcast 1. And YouTube, subscribe, like, and send it around. We'll see everyone next week.
It's black and white.